Have you ever been walking normally when your hips suddenly felt weak, your legs seemed to give out, or you stumbled for no obvious reason? Maybe you've even caught yourself before falling and thought, I'm just getting older. But what if I told you that this isn't always a normal part of aging? In many people over 50, a hip that suddenly feels unstable is actually an early warning sign that something deeper is happening inside your body. And if you ignore it, today's occasional stumble could become tomorrow's serious fall. Stay with me, because before this video ends, I'll explain the 3 most common reasons your hip gives out while walking and, more importantly, what you can do to stop it safely. I'm Dr. Ethan Cole, and one of the biggest mistakes I see adults over 50 make is blaming every new ache or weakness on age. Yes, our muscles naturally lose strength over time, and our joints don't recover as quickly as they once did, but your body is very good at sending warning signs long before a major problem develops. A hip that suddenly feels unstable isn't simply something to accept. It's often your body's way of asking for attention before a small issue becomes a much bigger one. Let's start with the first and most common reason: weak hip muscles. Most people immediately think the hip joint itself is failing, but that's often not the case. Your hip depends on several muscles, especially the glute muscles, to keep your pelvis stable every time you take a step. When these muscles become weak, they can no longer support your body properly. Instead of moving smoothly, your pelvis shifts, your balance changes, and your hip may suddenly feel like it wants to buckle beneath you. The encouraging news is that this problem is often treatable. You don't need intense workouts or hours in the gym. Simple strengthening exercises, regular walking within your comfort level, and gentle balance training can gradually rebuild the muscles that keep your hips stable. Even standing on a sturdy surface while holding the back of a chair and slowly lifting one leg to the side for a few seconds can begin activating muscles that many adults haven't used properly in years. Small improvements repeated consistently often produce much better results than doing too much all at once. Now let me ask you something. Does your hip feel weakest when you first stand up, after you've been walking for several minutes, or only when you're climbing stairs? I'd love for you to share your answer in the comments, because every person's experience is different, and your story may help someone else realize they're not alone. The second reason is one that surprises many people. Sometimes the pain isn't actually coming from your hip at all. The real problem may begin in your lower back. The nerves that control your hip and leg travel from your spine all the way down your leg. If one of those nerves becomes irritated or compressed, your brain may interpret the pain as coming from your hip. That's why some people feel pain deep in the buttock, others feel it down the back of the leg, and some notice numbness or tingling in their foot. Even though the discomfort seems to be in the hip, the source may be much higher up. So what should you do if you suspect your lower back is contributing to the problem? First, avoid sitting in the same position for long periods. Get up every 30 to 45 minutes and walk for a minute or two. Gentle stretching, improving your sitting posture, and strengthening your core muscles can reduce unnecessary pressure on the lower back. If your pain shoots below the knee, is accompanied by numbness, or your leg repeatedly gives way, it's important to schedule an evaluation with a healthcare professional instead of simply treating the pain with creams or hoping it disappears on its own. And here's something most people never realize. There's one everyday habit that quietly weakens both your hips and your balance. Even if you don't have arthritis, it's incredibly common, especially after the age of 50, and chances are you do it every single day without thinking. So we'll talk about that next. Now let's talk about that everyday habit I mentioned, because it may be doing more damage than you realize. The habit is sitting for long periods without moving. Whether you're watching television, working at a desk, or spending hours in the car, staying seated for too long causes the muscles around your hips to become stiff and inactive. Over time, your hip flexors tighten, your glute muscles become weaker, and your body slowly forgets how to stabilize itself during walking. Then, when you finally stand up, your first few steps may feel unsteady. Your hip may ache, or it may even feel like your leg is about to give way. The good news is that this is one of the easiest problems to improve. Set a simple reminder to stand up every 30 to 45 minutes. Walk around your home for 1 or 2 minutes. Gently stretch your hips, and avoid staying in the same position for hours. These small movement breaks improve blood flow, wake up your muscles, and reduce stiffness that builds up throughout the day. Many people are surprised by how much more stable they feel after making this one simple habit part of their daily routine. The third common reason your hip feels unstable is poor balance. As we age, our balance naturally changes because our muscles, joints, vision, and inner ear all work together to keep us steady. If one of those systems becomes weaker, your brain receives less accurate information about where your body is in space. The result is that your hip may suddenly shift, your foot may not land where you expected, and you instinctively grab onto something to keep yourself from falling. Fortunately, balance can be trained at almost any age. Simple exercises performed safely at home can make a real difference. Holding onto a sturdy chair while standing on one foot for a few seconds, practicing slow heel-to-toe walking, or performing gentle side steps can gradually improve stability. These exercises don't just strengthen your muscles, they also retrain your brain to react more quickly when you lose your balance. That's one of the reasons physical therapists often include balance training as part of recovery programs for older adults. It's also important to pay attention to your footwear. Worn-out shoes with poor support can make balance problems even worse. Shoes that fit properly, provide good grip, and support your feet, allow your hips and knees to move more naturally. Sometimes replacing an old pair of shoes is a much simpler solution than people expect. However, there are certain warning signs you should never ignore. If your hip suddenly becomes so weak that you cannot support your weight, if your leg repeatedly collapses, if you develop severe numbness, or if you lose control of your bladder or bowels, seek immediate medical attention. Those symptoms may indicate a more serious nerve or spinal condition that requires urgent evaluation. The earlier these problems are identified, the better the chances of preventing long-term complications. The encouraging news is that most people never reach that stage. In many cases, improving muscle strength, correcting posture, staying active, and addressing the underlying cause early can significantly reduce pain and improve stability. The key is not waiting until repeated falls force you to take action. In the final part, I'll share the simple daily routine I recommend to many adults over 50 to help keep their hips stronger, improve balance, reduce the risk of falling, and continue walking with confidence for years to come. So, what should you start doing today if you want stronger hips and safer walking after 50? Keep it simple. First, make movement a daily habit. Even a 20 to 30-minute walk at a comfortable pace can help keep your hip muscles active and your joints flexible. If walking causes pain, don't try to push through it. Instead, shorten the distance, slow your pace, and gradually build your strength over time. Second, spend just 5 to 10 minutes each day strengthening the muscles that protect your hips. Gentle side leg raises, seated knee lifts, standing heel raises, and simple sit-to-stand exercises from a sturdy chair are excellent places to begin. These movements improve muscle strength, support your pelvis, and make every step more stable. Remember, consistency is far more important than intensity. A few minutes every day will help you more than one difficult workout once a week. Third, don't ignore the small warning signs. If your hip feels unstable, your leg frequently gives out, or you notice increasing weakness instead of improvement, don't assume it's simply because you're getting older. Early evaluation can identify problems before they become more serious. In many cases, addressing the cause early can help you avoid unnecessary pain, improve your mobility, and reduce your risk of falling. The good news is that most adults over 50 can improve their balance, strengthen their hips, and walk with greater confidence by making a few simple lifestyle changes and staying consistent. Your age doesn't decide how well you move. Your daily habits play a much bigger role than most people realize. Before we finish, I'd love to hear from you. How old are you? And have you ever felt your hips suddenly give out while walking? Share your experience in the comments because your story could help someone else realize they're not alone. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and share this video with a friend or family member who struggles with hip pain, balance problems, or fear of falling. Thank you for watching, stay active, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.